Hey everyone, it's Jo again. So in this video, I want to talk about how I felt growing up in a dysfunctional home. Even to this day, even after all the work that I have done, this is only a part of some of the notebooks that I have written down, like journaling and things like that, doing shadow work. This is another one that I have, just basically of all the things that I've written down, affirmations as well as other things. But I do have other notebooks as well. This is my latest one that I'm using. But anyways, sometimes even though I have done so much work, I have done therapy, I have gotten massages, I have done acupuncture, I have done sensory deprivation tanks, I have done Reiki, I have done so much. It's too hard to put it in words. It's too hard to articulate, to really describe how I felt growing up in a dysfunctional home. And it's even harder to explain it to somebody that has never gone through it, because even if I tell them, unless they have like really high empathy, they're still not going to understand, because that is a feeling that is just hard to come up with the exact word. Sometimes I find that it's easier for me to just journal about it than to speak on it, because when you write, sometimes your mind just freely goes, versus when you speak, sometimes you gotta stop and think about certain things. Especially if you're like an overthinker like myself. But I'm gonna do my best to try to put it into words. Basically, I remember just feeling very weird. I remember just feeling like deep down inside of me that something was wrong, but I couldn't pinpoint what it was. But I just know that I didn't feel safe. Okay? I did not feel safe. I did not feel comfortable in my house. I felt very nervous. I felt very scared. And a lot of those emotions that affected me negatively, I noticed that I felt them now that I'm an adult, now that I have done some work, that I felt them deeply here in my stomach. When you feel fear and you feel anxiety, you feel like somebody just punched you in your stomach. And so you often have this nerve-wracking feeling that something bad is about to happen, but you just don't know what it is. Why? Because when you're in this type of household, and you might have a parent or a caretaker that might be the one that just explodes, and you don't know what triggers them, so you're walking around in eggshells, you're scared. You want to make sure that you do things and behave in a certain way that's going to make them quote unquote happy, because their mood, okay, reflects how you should move. If you notice that they're kind of withdrawn and that they look upset, you gotta maneuver and walk a certain way. If you notice they're happy, then you feel like it's a little safer to be happy. And then you start to think, oh, things are going back to normal again. This feels good. And then next thing you know, the next day, the person, your parents or whoever, they wake up in a different mood. And then you're like, oh, confused, like what is going on? Especially you're a child. You do not understand what's going on. And it's just very weird and odd. And then also, if you have a sibling, your parents, if they're abusers, they're gonna put you against your sibling. They're gonna continuously compare you. They did that to me. I was always compared to my older sister. It was always like, you can't be like her. I was put down. I was called ugly. I was heavily criticized about my body. It was just like I was awfully ignored. She was giving more attention than myself. And I felt really, really bad about myself. And sometimes my sister and I would get along for 2 seconds, and then it would just be very distant. And trying, the both of us differently, separately, trying to win over our mom. Because even though I grew up with both of my parents, my dad was at work most of the time. And my mom was like the terrorist. But then when my father was home, he would just get home really late. He would, eat, take a shower, and just lay down in bed. He would not come and speak to anybody. He would not hug us or anything like that. Even with my mom, I never saw them displaying affection towards each other. I don't know if you guys can relate to this. I never saw my parents having affection towards each other. I never really saw my dad buying her flowers, helping her around the house. It was always her trying to cater to his needs, like clean and cook and stuff like that, and make sure that when he got home from work that they were still there. My dad wasn't really like abusing my mom or anything like that. But that was just in the culture. In Dominican culture, you're taught to basically cater to the men's needs. That you have to know how to cook, you have to know how to clean, yada, yada. Even though there were a few times that my mom would work cleaning houses, this is what was expected of her in the culture. even to like basically neglect her own needs in order to take care of my father's needs. But I must say that when my mom will rage and my mom will say insults and stuff, my father never really did much to protect my sister and I. And oftentimes I was seen as the bad one because I would sometimes, like at first I didn't, but I'm like, no, this is wrong. This does not feel right. And I would say something to my parents, and they automatically saw me as the defective one. I was bad. I was a rebel. Why couldn't I be my sister and be quiet about it? But I just feel like deep down in my spirit, like I can't take this anymore. And then oftentimes, obviously, they would shut me down, and then I would feel scared. I would feel lonely. I had no teacher, not my sibling, no adults that were there to protect me at all. I did not have anyone that I could talk to about my feelings. I pretended to be like perfect at school. And outside, I was like very shy to myself, very nervous, developed social anxiety. I was scared of people. I kind of got a little bullied in school. I felt really bad about myself. I hated myself. I thought I was ugly. Like, why I can't look like my sister and things like that. Because, given that they're always talking about her looks and putting me down, I internalized all those things. I didn't feel good enough. I feel really bad about myself. I feel like I'm dumb. I didn't feel like I was smart enough. I didn't feel like I was pretty enough. I felt extremely like I really hated myself to the point that I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. Like, I just couldn't. I've spent years. Now I can, but I spent years when I did not look at myself in the mirror because I hated what I saw with a passion. I was heavily criticized. I was called fat. If I gained weight, if I lost weight, then I would say I was too skinny. It was just nothing was ever good enough for my family. And even when I visited my family in the Dominican Republic, it was just constant criticism, constant comparing me to my sister, constantly ignoring me to just hang out with her and things like that. Or whatever, and calling me crazy for just having a lot of emotions and having rage that I felt like was justified for the way that I was treated. And then my parents, especially my mother, I would say, sent out this message to people over there that I was getting spoiled because, I had a home and I had food. Those are the basic needs that you need to give a child. If you have a child and you're going to be a parent, that's what you're supposed to do. You don't get a pat on the back for giving your child food and clothing. That's what you're supposed to be doing. If not, then don't have a child. Don't have a child then. Making it seem like I was spoiled. Meanwhile, like my mother would buy them brand new stuff for them and send it to them in shipments to the Dominican Republic. But when it came to my sister and I, oftentimes it was like for us to go shopping, my dad was always complaining about giving us money. And then sometimes she would just give us like second-hand used clothing because she made it seem like my sister and I were not deserving of having new clothes and things like that. If I wanted a toy that I knew my parents could afford, I knew not to ask for it because I knew not my needs. She didn't tell me, hey, don't ask me for things. I just knew by the way they were treating me that in order for me to pacify them, in order for me to make them happy and make my parents kind of like me and love me, do not ask for what you want, forget your needs, and just walk in a way, like I said, walk on eggshells, walk in a way that is not going to make my parents say stuff to me. And I felt really guilty. I felt shame. Why I felt guilty? Because I felt like I owe them everything. When I was only 8 years old, my mother, because I had written in a diary that I hated my mother because she was being mean. She read it, she started crying, and she told me that, she risked her life for me and that the doctors had told her to abort me. I was only 8 years old. What the hell did I know about abortions at that age? Absolutely nothing. But she told me that story and I felt so bad. So instead of me feeling bad for the way that she was treating me, from the way that I was feeling for being raised in a household that felt cold and distant, in which my needs were not being met, in which I was basically alone with nobody. Like if I wanted to cry about something, I knew I had to swallow my pain. If I wanted to cry, I would lock myself in the bathroom, fill in the tub with water, hot, warm water, lay in it, and cry. That's what I would do. I would cry, and then I would put in my towel, get out, dry it up or whatever, and pretend like I was okay. But deep down, I felt like I was dying. I was wishing that, somebody to just please hug me and love me because I just didn't understand. Like, what did I do to deserve that? Like, why don't my parents love me? Why is our family not together? Why don't we sit to have dinner together? Why doesn't my father take me out to the park? Why doesn't my mom take me out to the park? Why is my mother continuously always on the phone gossiping to other people? Why she's always yelling and raging? Why is she saying that I'm a bad child? Why when she goes to get my report card, why she's acting like she cares so much, and why is she embarrassing me in front of the teacher and asking me so many questions? But when I'm home, she don't ask me, hey, do you have homework? Let's set up the schedule so you could do homework. And then also, I wanted to help out in the kitchen and help out around the house. And whenever I made attempts, she would say no, but then in the same token said that I was lazy, said my sister was lazy, never taught us any type of skills. Never taught us any type of skills that she knew were going to make us self-sufficient, and that she knew that were going to be beneficial all the way to adulthood. They made sure to basically cripple us emotionally and physically. And whenever I was in school and I used to see girls with their nails done and having makeup and things like that, it's not necessarily that I wanted to fit in or smelling good. It's just that I feel like I wanted to be girly, I wanted to be feminine, but that was never encouraging me. If anything, I feel like I was very feminine. If anything, I feel like I was very warm and very loving, but they made it seem like I was being weak for showing vulnerability and emotions. And whenever I did show emotions, crying, anything like that, they would laugh. They would not tend to me. They would not hold me. They would not hug me. I was 8, 9. And I realized, you know what? Showing emotions is bad. So let me hide my emotions. Being nice and warm is not good. So pretend to be tough. Pretend to be something that you're not in order for me to survive in my household. And that made me scare people. I couldn't trust myself. I could definitely not trust my parents. And especially my mom, who I had her in a pedestal, and I also had my father in a pedestal too. And it's like, I would trust my mother with things, and then she would go back and say the things that I said. She would distort my words. She would say that I said something else. She would lie that I did things that I did not even do. And my family in the Dominican Republic, they will believe, until this day, believes everything she says. Now, all of them now, the younger generation can see past her BS. But they still have this, oh, but that's your mother type of mentality, which I think is complete bullshit. Complete bullshit. And this is how you get set up to get with men or women that are going to play those dynamics out for you, because that's your programming. That's why you grew up in a household in which you did not have good, healthy role models that model healthy, loving relationships. You did not have good parents, healthy parents that gave you that healthy attachment that a child needs to their parents. Okay, so therefore, whatever attachment you receive, whether it's insecure attachment, avoidant, whatever, you might have a mixture of different type of attachments, right? Or you might have one, and that's gonna continue to play out throughout your whole life in relationships, because that's all you know, and that's what in your mind is the norm. But your mind doesn't know, unless you do this work, your mind doesn't know that that's unhealthy. Your mind doesn't know that that's not serving you. Your mind doesn't know that you might end up with somebody that's abusive. You might end up with somebody that's just might end up killing you. You're gonna end up with somebody that's just, again, that's gonna hurt you. But you don't know that. And then you're also gonna end up hurting the person, hurting yourself. And if you have kids, you might end up hurting them, because you're repeating the cycle of what you thought, your brain thought, hey, this is what you're being shown. I'm gonna record it, and this is what you're gonna play out, because that's just what you saw growing up. A child is like a sponge, okay? So what you see around you is what becomes your reality, unless you have some kind of awakening in which you realize, oh crap, this is unhealthy, I have to change it, and you work on it all day, every day. You could take a day off and go back at it the next day. Otherwise, you're never going to change, and you're going to continue repeating these cycles. You're going to continue attracting this type of people. And I'm still not 100%. I still have issues with boundaries and things like that, which I admit. As part of the journey, you have to be real with yourself. You have to admit to yourself, this is what's going on, this is what it is, and that's that. And work on it every day. Like I said, you might take a day off, go on it the next day. because you have to continue doing it repeatedly in order for you to put in the new programming. Because remember, what you're doing is based on what you saw every day that was recorded in your brain, right? So in order for you to put new programming, then you need to record your mind with healthier boundaries, healthier belief systems, healthier ways of thinking, healthier behavior. And you need to keep on doing it until it becomes automatic. Just like the negative programming became automatic, you need this new programming to become automatic. And it can be done. I don't care if you're suicidal. I don't care if your mom used to beat you up. Find a way to become healthier, because when you do, your life is just going to be so much better. Even the fact that you start working on this, it's an improvement, and it needs to be celebrated, and it can be done. And I'm telling you, like, I feel like my life has changed so much already. I'm a different person. Yes, I still have some issues, but it's better than what I was like years ago. I was such in a bad predicament. It's such in a bad predicament. And I would have never thought that I would be here talking to people and being open about it, because I was very secretive. Because growing up in the household, it's like everything is like a secret, because my parents, especially my mom, did not want people to know what's really going on, because then that will affect her image and, will make her look bad and stuff like that. So I hope you guys can work on yourselves. Continue to do so. If you have any questions, please comment down below or in comments and things like that. And I'm going to be making another video on a topic that I'm pretty sure a lot of you can relate. Thank you so much for watching.